This car right here was the car Thomas Sankara was driving. He was driving this car until he became president. Also, when he became president, he did not choose any luxury, many cars. He continued driving the same car. This was also the same car he got married with, right? I am here at the Museum of Thomas Sankara, and you can see here, this is the museum. This museum was designed by a Burkinabe architect that is called Francis Kere, right? The museum is 13 pillars, and it is 13 pillars because the day Thomas Sankara was killed, he died with other 12 heroes, right? Thomas Sankara was not the only person that got killed on that day. He died with other heroes that I also think we should also be remembering them, right? Some of them were professors, some of them were advisors, some of them were, lecturers, writers, bodyguards, right? So 12 other heroes Thomas Sankara died with on the day he got shot. They made us believe what happened in Burkina Faso was a coup that led to the overthrow of Thomas Sankara. But no, that wasn't a coup. What happened in Burkina Faso then was a massacre that led to the killing of 12 heroes, Thomas Sankara making it 13. On that day, there was only one survivor, and that survivor now is a special advisor to Captain Ibrahim Traoré. All this happened just because Thomas Sankara said, we cannot be tenants in our own country paying tax to France. So the artwork you're seeing behind me, right, explains the situation Burkina Faso is going through currently, right? We're talking about, terrorism, soldiers fighting, and that's how you see things like this here, right? This is a soldier carrying another person, right, on his back, and at the same time fighting. That is, I don't know what that explains, but what you already know, like this humanitarian here, there, right, at the same time fighting for his country. Fighting for his country doesn't mean he's gonna leave a dead soldier behind. You already know, if you're a military person, you can relate to that, right? And you can see another one here. You can see another one here. It's the soldiers, the captain, right? And the beautiful part is this, right? Let me show you the beautiful part. The beautiful part here is the female soldier also being part of it. Why? Because this explains that women are also part of the revolution, women are also part of the military, women are also fighting to combat terrorism in Burkina Faso, right? That's the beautiful part of it. Everything Captain Ibrahim Traoré is doing now, he's following the footsteps of Thomas Sankara. He is taking the journey from where Thomas Sankara stopped. He's not only continue the legacy of Thomas Sankara, but he's also making sure he fills the loopholes that these French colonial structures created in the country since the massacre of Thomas Sankara. And that is why I think, right, we as Africans, we really have to support Captain Ibrahim Traoré, because we can say we love the great things Thomas Sankara did for Burkina Faso, right? We love the fact that he introduced healthy lifestyle, women empowerment, and all those great things, and come again and criticize Ibrahim Traoré just because he is a military regime. Because if you even visit Burkina Faso, the memorial park where I visited was also created by Captain Ibrahim Traoré. It was his initiative to show the world that he is learning, he is continuing the journey from where Thomas Sankara stopped. I am saying this because I'm seeing a lot of pushbacks, right, from Africans, not even from non-Africans, from Africans, criticizing Captain Ibrahim Traoré just because he is a military regime. Thomas Sankara was also a soldier. So we can't come here and be glorifying, giving Thomas Sankara the same praise, right? Giving Thomas Sankara praises and turn around, criticize Captain Ibrahim Traoré. I think Thomas Sankara will be proud of us if we give that support to Captain Ibrahim Traore, right? Especially now, he is the one in collaboration with the rest of the Sahel, right? Mali, Assimi Quetta, Ibrahim Traore from Niger, right? They are setting the standard, they are setting the blueprint, they are showing the world that our sovereignty shouldn't be compromised. See, we need to ask ourselves one question, right? Whenever we read books about Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, whenever we read books about, Mandela, Patrice Lumumba, Sekou Touré, Willis Johnson, and all the Pan-African forebearers, whenever we read these books about them, whenever we learn this history about them, we need to ask ourselves one question. And that question is, what is the mistake they did that we will not want to repeat today? And I think one of the mistakes is, so on the long list of mistakes, right? I think one of it is some of us did not see the greatness. Some of us, our forebearers, right, did not have this foresight of what Africa would be like if we really give the support, right? I say we because my people, it was my people, my forebearers, right? So people then, in the days of Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, let's just say in the 1950s, 1960s, right? Our people did not really have that foresight of what Africa as a continent would be like if they give the support to great leaders like Osajifo, Kwame Nkrumah, and the rest, right? They did not have that foresight. So they allowed themselves to be manipulated by the CIA and the rest, right? They allowed themselves to be used against these leaders. And that was the mistake. That's why they used them to kill these leaders. And today, Africa is bearing the consequences. So when we ask ourselves that, we don't want to repeat that same mistake, right, that our people did, that is when we're going to realize that Captain Ibrahim Traore and the rest of the AES countries need our support. We have to be the one to support them instead of going around falling for all this Western propaganda, falling for these, traps, these manipulations they are setting up, because the same names they are calling Captain Ibrahim Traore was the same names they were calling the rest of the forebearers, all the Pan-African forebearers, right? Nkrumah, Sankara, Lumumba, Willis Johnson, all those ones that really fought for the continent from Africa and the diaspora. They call them all these names dictators, right? Those are the same names they are calling the ones today that are trying to make sure they liberate their people, right? So we cannot be part of our own destruction. We can say we want Africa to be liberated. We want Africa to compete, with the world. We want Africa to be recognized. We want Africa to be equal, right? To be treated with respect in the world, and turn around, criticize African leaders that are taking that bold step to make sure we get there, right? I think Captain Ibrahim Traore and the rest of the AES countries need our support. Our support is not just to go there, donate money. Our support is to make sure we are not falling for this propaganda. Our support is to make sure we don't, get too drunk with this delusion that democracy is the only way for Africa. Come on. We've already tried democracy. I'm personally not against the ideology of democracy, right? But I am against the fact that it has failed the African continent. I'm against the fact that it is nothing in the African continent but a neo-colonial tool that is set to maintain, the exploitation of the African continent. And yeah, we're realizing that alone, right? And try to give other ideologies or other people chances, especially people that are saying, our respect, our sovereignty shouldn't be, compromised. So let's give the AES the support they need. Let's be part of history instead of, later our kids again are being taught about these people. Later we start building museum saying that, Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Goïta, Tiani, these were great leaders, we fantasize this history and all of that. No, what we can actually do now is to be part of this history. What we can do now is to be part of this greatness, right? We already saw how we came together the last time, when they wanted to, push Ibrahim Traore using the general from America, right? General Langley, that created that propaganda that Captain Ibrahim Traore is stealing the gold. You saw when we united, both virtually and physically, made petitions that we are not going to allow that to happen. You saw it's made the American intention of overthrowing or whatever they plan doing to Ibrahim Traore did not succeed. And that is the energy I want us to keep on pushing, right? We should not fall for this propaganda to think, Captain Ibrahim Traore, since he came to power, terrorists have succeeded, 40% of the land. No, those are all lies. Those lands were already occupied before Captain Ibrahim Traore came to power. It is even when Captain Ibrahim Traore came to power, they managed to take back some of those lands back from the terrorists. So there are a lot of propaganda, there are a lot of articles being put out there to undermine the sovereignty of this country. So you have to make sure you are very critical in your thinking, right? To make sure you debunk and not just consume these lies about the country, because this is what they always do. When they want to take over a country, they're going to send these international organizations like Human Rights Watch, Amnesty to go and give report to say, the people of Burkina Faso are suffering, whatever, and now finally America is now going to save this country. And you already know, when they go to save, they are not saving any country. America stepped their foot, right? In anywhere in the world, not only in Africa, that country is never gonna know peace. So I appreciate you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, share this video if you really believe in the true liberation of the African continent. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Bye.